Let's kick things off here with a Windswept Heath for Gabriel Nicholas.
No one drop there from Breach, so not ideal, or from Boros Energy there, so not ideal. But I did see Static Prison, Galvanic Discharge, and a Fable. So a lot of interaction on turns 1 and 2, and then Fable to kind of round out your draw. But not necessarily the draw you want against Breach. You want to be coming out fast and then interact.
Preordain passes the turn back to Gabriel Nicholas. Kraken, his Windswept Heath, goes to find an Elegant Parlor and will Surveil to kick off the beginning of his turn.
Ideally trying to find like an Ajani here. Some 2-drop that would be a great piece of aggression. Also would be totally fine to be able to find something like a Ragavan. Ragavan is extremely good against grinding Breach, as you can play a lot of the things. I mean, if you can ever like Ragavan in and just hit a Mishra's Bauble, that already feels so good. So
yeah, he just gets all the free stuff. Oh, he's finding treasures, Corey.
Exactly. You get treasures and all the good stuff. Guide of Souls is perfectly reasonable as a 1-drop to find here, and then has Galvanic Discharge to deal with any creature that Nate plays.
That's a pretty Marsh Flats. I like that. Very, very nice. Guide of Souls to kick things off. Soul Sister-esque.
Yeah, very, very strong card. Definitely the card that makes Boros Energy tick. You know, when we lost the Raptor here a little bit ago in Boros Energy, you know, it was pretty clear that that was not going to kill the deck, and that was the point of it. You know, these energy aggressive decks, it's really awesome to have an aggressive deck in the format, so I'm glad that they made the choice to deal with Amp Raptor instead of something like Guide of Souls.
Yeah.
That would have been a tough one to recover from here from the Boros Energy side.
Yeah. I think we were chatting in chat in Carbon and Mason's rounds about, you know, what might get hit by the ban hammer. And it was like, no, they're not going to get Mox Opal. They just unban them. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably, if I were to guess, if anything was to be banned, I'm looking at that Rumble there because it's just good in every single green-based deck.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Breach.
No.
So, okay.
No,
good,
that
good,
kills the
good.
deck entirely. You know,
Okay,
people want to
okay.
play it and they've, you know, invested a lot into it. So just taking out one piece of the puzzle and seeing what happens, not the worst idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think the format is fine right now to
Yeah.
see where everything adjusts. You know, I think the next round of RCs, now that Breach will have the target on its back, you know, there'll be players gunning after that, and if you find a way to make it so Breach doesn't have a great tournament in the next RCs, absolutely
go.
nothing should be touched for sure, because Modern is a self-correcting format, and whenever it doesn't self-correct, that's when you have a problem. That's when you have a deck that's too good. So time will tell if any correction is possible.
I'm sure there is. Self-correction, probably the more likely thing to happen there, as we see Nate Green getting his graveyard nice and full. Guide of Souls going to chip in here for 1 point of damage. Down to 16.
And now we'll probably see just the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And, you know, this is Gabriel Nicholas absolutely knowing there is a possibility that he doesn't untap. You know, that is definitely a possibility. But the games, you never win the games where you just hold up interaction, and you don't try to get any aggression on the battlefield. So I like this play from Gabriel. Just be like, yep, if you have it, you got it.
Yeah.
And we'll go on to the next game where Gabriel is going to be a lot more favored.
What did you call it yesterday? Pressure plus aggression? Or
Yes.
something along those lines?
Pressure plus disruption is
Disruption, there you go,
definitely
that's
how
all.
you beat Breach. And right now, the pressure is lacking. So something Gabriel is very much going to want to try to do is be able to go to Chapter 2 of Fable, discard Flage and one other card, and be able to bring that back for some extra close-the-door pressure, or just be holding up a Thraben Charm, Static Prison, that kind of thing.
So Fable the Mirror Breaker creates the little goblin. Guide of Souls gaining some life, but life is not going to be the thing that matters in this matchup, at least not for Gabriel's side of things. Nate, now, what are you going to do with your turn?
Yeah, you're totally right about that. The life total of Gabriel doesn't really matter for Game 1. Surprisingly, post-board games actually come down to Saga a little bit more, and you can win the game with constructs when your opponent's bringing in all this anti-combo cards. But yeah, Game 1, Nate's very much going to want to try to combo, so.
Soul Guide Lantern. Alrighty. Galvanic Discharge gets targeted there.
very strong there to be able to just make sure Flage doesn't do any huge damage pretty much at all this game. And there is Grinding Station. So I believe we rumbled last turn.
Yeah.
And we saw the breach, but we didn't get it. So that would lead to a couple assumptions if I was playing against Nate right now. Number one, probably has a breach in hand. And number two, does not have a Mox Opal plus another couple artifacts, or Nate could have went for it. So I would assume, and there was a breach, the first card in Nate's hand. Yeah. I would assume, if I'm Gabriel, that I, no matter what, have to interact or hold up interaction, as if Nate was left to his own devices next turn, would win the game.
Yeah. I think I spotted a Shifting Woodlands in hand as well, so that's another way to get breach.
Yeah, and right now you are still missing a 0-drop to fully win, but you have a lot of ways to find it. You can breach and then rumble, try to hit a 0-drop. You can sack the Soul Guide Lantern, try to hit 0-drops to Grinding Station. Naturally draw one, of course. A lot of things that can be found for Nate to wrap it up next turn.
Yep. Also has an Otawara, I think I spied.
Yep, Otawara as well. And there is Flage in the yard, so you got to be on watch right now. At any point, if Gabriel started with a fetch land, in response to that fetch, you would have to sack the Lantern, otherwise Flage could come back.
Yeah.
So Static Prison on the Grinding Station realistically doesn't matter that much, as you just sacrifice it, mill yourself, and then it's in the graveyard. But what it does do is forces Nate to commit 2 more mana to the combo next turn, which maybe Nate does not have that luxury. So
needs to get his energy counters as well from Static Prison.
No, it was sacrifice, so it does fizzle the energy if there's no target.
Oh, it does?
Once it resolves. Yep.
What? No, wait. It says you get 2 energy when it enters.
Yeah, it's only if you hit the target.
Oh, that's odd.
Yep, so it's like if you, Static Prison, Eldrazi spawn or whatever, if you sack it, you won't be getting any energy.
I learned something new today.
Kind of a weird interaction for sure. Not intuitive for sure.
Okay. Well, gets energy nonetheless from the follow-up plays here. We see a Ajani hit the board. Brings a little kitty friend.
Lots of energy now to be able to send something to the skies.
Whee! No need to just yet, though, I think.
So the pressure is definitely on. If we turn this into a flyer and we get up to 5 damage, we're going to get a treasure. That face-down card is a shaman.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a treasure here, and then Nicholas will have what looks to be 1 mana available as a way to interact. And if it's just Galvanic Discharge, that's not enough on Nate's turn. If Nate does indeed have everything wrapped up to go, which it's not fully apparent yet. I still don't see a 0-drop artifact. That's the only piece I'm seeing that we're missing.
Oh, another prison.
Okay.
Ha-ha! Now.
So no matter what, you can either sack it to exile the graveyard, or you can sack the spawn to draw a card.
Yeah.
And I think there's merit to both. If you want to play a long game, you get rid of the Flage, but if you want to try to draw towards a bobble or a 0-drop, then you just get rid of and draw a card there. But the way that Nate's doing it here is you can breach Grinding Station, and then you can cast Emery from the yard, and the Mox Amber will lock it up.
There you go. All right. Shifting Woodland, the land for turn.
Yeah, and this was put my hand on the table, be like, I have it here. Nate knows there's nothing that Gabriel can have at instant speed.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the surgical. No, there's no surgical in the main, so this will be game number 1 here going to Nate. And this is kind of the game against a deck like Nicholas, where it's not a must-win, but it definitely helps, where if you lose game 1 against a hateful sideboard and a good player like Gabriel, the matchup can be tricky. But now, it being a good matchup, even with all the hate cards from Gabriel's side, you got to give him the big advantage here in this match.
And there we go. Gabriel's seen enough. Happy that Nate has everything cooking there to get the first game. So we're going to go to game number 2 here. Let's take a look at the sideboards, though. You mentioned that Gabriel's sideboard is pretty well stocked against Grinding Breach.
Yeah, I would think the Molten Rains and the Shadow of the Scalds are the only cards that aren't coming in. So going to bring in all of these other hate pieces. And then really what changes about the dynamic of the deck and the matchup here from the Breach side is, well, if you're bringing in all those cards, you got to take out something. So you have to take out some of your creatures. You take out your Bombardment, Shavon, Flages. You know, you usually don't take out your Guide of Souls, Oscillate Prides, and Ajani's. Maybe the Ajani's you can trim on a little bit, actually. But the core of your deck is the Oscillate Pride and the Guide of Souls. But when you bring in all those hate cards, your deck slows down a lot. So from the Grinding Breach side, you get to kind of change the way you approach this matchup. You kind of get to just play the control player where game 1, you're a combo deck. Game 2, you are a combo control deck where, you know, you're going to bring in Unholy Heat, Flame of Anor, Pyroclasm, Nature's Claim, Boseiju, Jace. You don't want to really bring in the Spell Pierce or Consign. Spell Snare is also coming in. And you just want to slow down. You know, you want to just maybe trim on your combo a bit. You can trim a Breach. You can trim a Grinding Station. Get rid of your Preordains, kind of the worst card in the deck anyways. You can get rid of your Haywire Mites as the main enchantment that you want to get rid of is the Stony Silence. And, you know, Haywire Mite does get shut off there. There is Ghost Vacuum, which makes it okay, but usually Gabriel would probably side out the Static Prisons as it's not the best piece of hate, as you could just destroy it with the plethora of ways that Nate's bringing it in. So now game 2 and 3, Nate can actually look to a plan where, like, you just kill creature, kill creature, kill creature, and then just win with, like, Urza Saga's Construct sometimes, or stumble into the combo.
Stumble into the combo.
Yep. Yeah, you're not usually trying to combo super fast in the post-board games, as there's enough stuff to really stop you from doing it from Gabriel's side.
Well, it should be interesting to see what Gabriel can do here against Nate. As you mentioned, Corey, X and 2s are looking pretty good for top 8 berths.
Yep, absolutely. So I would think the winner of this match, depending on how their tiebreakers are looking, has a chance to shake hands next round and be into the top 8. But if y'all want to be shaking hands and come on into a top 8, come to Denver. Denver is going to be a really, really sweet one.
Dragons!
Magic Spotlight Dragons. This is, of course, a limited Spotlight series. So really cool stuff. Remember, all these Spotlight series, new events that we started here in 2025. You make it to the top 8 of these, you're going straight to the Pro Tour. So it's similar to these regional championships that sends people to the Pro Tours, but this is an open event.
Yeah.
Anyone can play.
That's sick.
Anyone can open a sealed deck, chock full of bombs, make it to day 2, and convert that the next day into a top 8 and be heading to the Pro Tour here. So I'm very tempted as well to do some playing here. That is April 11th through the 13th. Go to starcitygames.com/SCGCon to learn some more information on that one.
Yeah. Let's go play.
They'll
be fine without us in the booth, right?
We'll be seeing, yeah. I might have to play.
I think you might, yes. I know you're just itching to go and fling some cardboard there, Corey.
I do enjoy flinging some cardboard, yeah.
Nate Green up a game, up against Gabriel Nicholas, who's been playing excellently thus far. I am quite curious. I want to see what his opponents have been this weekend. Give me 1 second while I have a look-see.
Yeah, I remember we watched at least one match here.
Yes, you are right.
At the end of yesterday against Breach, where just had a plethora of Stony Silences plus pressure and kind of dismantled the Breach opponent there. But yeah, Gabriel Nicholas, a phenomenal Magic player. Oink Mage, I believe, on Magic Online, if you've lost
it sure is
him.
Oink Mage. That is funny.
Yeah, a really, really nice guy as well.
Some of these players' names, they just tickle me pink. It's
always
funny.
Good, yep, absolutely.
All right, let's see. We had, whoop. What did we have? Well, if this thing would work, I'd tell you. Never mind.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Did a lot of winning, though, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Did an absolute lot of winning and definitely beat some Breach decks along the way. This is one of our one of our few Boros Energy decks that are actually at the top of the standings right now. So kind of, I don't know, is Boros Energy now the hero? It was definitely the villain for so many tournaments in a row. But we might be switching back to Boros Energy being the hero.
All right, I got it. Amulet Titan, Esper Reanimator, Ruby Storm, Amulet Titan, Boros Energy, Jeskai Energy, Jund Creativity, Grinding Breach, Mono Blue Belcher, Esper Oculus, and then Breach, all the way down.
Looks like loss to Breach and an Energy Mirror as the only losses. Otherwise, did some dominating. A lot of 2-0s as well. So, yeah. If anyone is going to win with a deck that's maybe not doing as well in this tournament, it's going to be Gabriel, one of our most established players still left in contention.
I think you mean Oink Mage.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, absolutely.
That's a superhero name. What's your superhero name? You like Boom or something silly.
What?
Your superhero name. You're online.
Oh, yeah. Bonk 101.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Intro to Bonk.
Oh, yeah. Shuffle. This is one thing I do prefer about digital Magic. You don't have to do any shuffling.
That is fair.
Yeah, and then you don't have to blame yourself if you draw like poop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, if you do need sleeves because you don't want to shuffle your cards naked, go look at Dragon Shield. They will protect your cards, and if you like your cards enough and they're shiny and fancy, you want to get them graded, go get them graded from Beckett, our sponsors for this event. Big thank you to them. They are sponsoring each event this year, and that's real heckin' cool. So if you guys want to watch more Magic, you can thank Beckett and Dragon Shield for sponsoring these events.
Absolutely. Big thanks to the sponsors making everything happen here.
Yeah.
Looks like we are underway. Looks like a mulligan from Gabriel and a keep from Nate. I see 3 lands. There's a Swan Song, a Breach, Emery, and it looked like a green card in the back, so more than likely Rumble, which is a very, very reasonable hand.
Malevolent Rumble.
Such a good card.
Corey. It is pretty good, yeah.
Such a great card. Kind of had its breakout performance in Amsterdam. You know, of course, that was where the card was printed anyways. But most of the time you see a common in one of your sets and you're playing a modern Pro Tour like we are, it better be quite the impressive card. But
it is.
Yeah, Team Sanctum ended up putting this in the Nadu decks.
Yeah, I was about to say, they're the first team that I saw like hyping this up, and I was like, what? Okay. I mean, sure, if you guys say it's good, it must be, so.
Exactly. The team was saying it's basically Ponder. It costs 1 mana,
Green
you get
Ponder.
a rebate. And that is so true then, really resonated with me. And it's kind of even better than Ponder in the Breach decks because half the time, it costs 1, but it gives you a ramp so that you can accelerate your next combo turn. So really, really nice stuff. And Regavan on the play here is a big deal if Nate does not have an answer like an Unholy Heat.
Cheeky monkey. It is nice to see the little monkey pirate make an appearance.
Yeah. The once absolute modern staple that really fell out of favor when Bowmasters and Wrens were everywhere, but that is kind of the self-correction of modern that I was talking about. Those kind of cards went away, and then everyone's like, you forget about Regavan? There's such a deep card pool.
Oh.
And, look at
we could do our own rumbling.
Look at a rumble. You see that little smirk from Gabriel? Be like, I've been known to rumble once or twice.
Nice. I bet he wants that one.
I mean, I would think so, because, like, something Gabriel could do is rumble into an Ajani, play a land, and play it. Like, there's plenty of hits.
That's silly. I like it. All right, let's see.
The only thing that is brutal for Nate, or brutal for Gabriel, is now Nate does get a rumble in the yard, but whatever, you know?
Oh, God, he's so dope.
Excellent.
Hey, this is fun. So we should just be playing Naya Energy is what you're telling me, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Nice. Well, really good start here now for Gabriel Nicholas.
Yep, and now we see the Ajani, so here's the pressure.
Nice.
And, something in the lists of Breach that I usually play at least 2 Pyroclasms or Whip Flares. I mean, it's basically the same card. But once this start happens, my absolute favorite thing to do is, one of the red surveil lands like Thundering Falls on the end step, untap Urza's Saga, Whip Flare, wrath the board.
Yeah.
Now, Nicholas, usually initial onslaught of creatures are kind of at bay. And then, the Boros Energy deck just slows down so much that you can kind of take over the game with Urza's Saga or other value cards like Emery.
Does a Johnny flip if there's a board wipe?
It does not. No,
because it does.
Dies with it. Yeah.
All right.
But Gabriel could have the ability to kill it if he has some mana available. But yeah, they would all be swept away.
Okay.
But now, if Nate doesn't have that, or even just a way to deal with one of these creatures, is just in a world of trouble.
Ooh, yeah, I smell trouble here. As Nate is getting a Soul Guide landing down and passing the turn back. Gabriel gets to untap with a bunch of cats and a thieving monkey.
And now Gabriel has the ability to never have to overextend on the battlefield anymore. These 3 creatures alone will win the game. So now Gabriel's plan is just going to be like maybe play Stony Silence, have a Thraben Charm. Any things that interact with the battlefield is what you're going to want now. Yeah, and Ragavan is just going crazy here.
Pillage, plunder, pilfer.
Getting all the value here. And as a Breach gamer, I very much enjoyed not seeing Ragavan in these lists. So Ragavan is just a must-answer threat where Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, you can let them live a little bit. They will, of course, get out of hand as well, but Ragavan gets out of hand immediately.
So what you're saying, Corey, is people should play more monkeys.
Yeah,
yep.
I would think so. I think Ragavan is very good right now.
Ragavan gamers, rise up. Wow, and big chunk of damage coming through each turn. That's 5.
Yep. Absolutely. This game is looking really rough here for Nate Green. I did see, I think I saw a Swan Song from Nate, so has the ability to counter maybe the first piece of hate that's about to come down, but then we'll have to be doing something very important.
Yep. Oh, that's Recruiter, yeah? No, Ranger Captain of Eos.
Yep. Ranger Captain, another phenomenal card against Breach. Being able,
gross, yeah. Sacking itself?
Yeah, being able to sack itself in response to a Breach is excellent. You get to just have it stick around, attack for 3 over and over until Breach gets cast. Then it's kind of a counter spell on a creature for it. So
I think we're going to game 3, Corey.
I think we are going to game 3. Yeah, 100%. The one thing I would be looking out for is, not in the list here from Nate, any Fire Sprouts, but not there. Only has the one Pyroclasm as well, so not that many sweepers against Boros. But to be fair, I think Boros was on the decline coming into this event, so shaving some of that hate is reasonable.
Bars was the most played in the previous RC, right?
Yeah, in basically every previous Modern tournament, but since the most recent bans.
Yeah.
And honestly, even with the One Ring, it was still the most played for quite a while in there as well. So.
All right. Gonna take some more damage here as Nate Green goes and finds a land to try and find some action against this mounting mass of murder mittens in the hands of the kitty cats here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we'll see how defensive you want to play with this Ranger Captain of Eos. Most of the time, I see people crack this far too aggressively. You know, because most of the time are on the other side and you're like, all right, I'm going to crack this so you can't have a big turn. And then you're like, in response, I have a removal spell for another one of your creatures, and then you just 2-for-1 yourself. So most of the time, it's just correct to hold that Ranger Captain until Underworld Breach comes around or it goes to get killed.
Cool, cool. All right, Nate, what you got?
Got to have one heck of a turn here for sure.
Land to kick things off, mayhaps. Gabriel on the other side of things, got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, definitely feeling strong about this one. And then the game 3 is very much the tougher one, being on the draw against this, where it's just a little harder to set up pressure.
Yeah. All right. Emery, Spellbomb, mill a bunch of stuff. Goes Jace, Atemio, Thassa. Imagine Graveyard Hate now from Nicholas, so from Gabriel's side.
Yeah. No, a Thraben Charm from Gabriel would kind of do it. as far as being able to just win the game.
Yeah, bye-bye win cons.
With one of those win cons. So, yeah, it is a little unlucky when you flip over both of them. But I still think we have a swan song from Nate. But at some point, you know, Nate has very much telegraphed, I have something. There's been one blue or one red left untapped basically every single turn, and Gabriel just hasn't played into it because there's been no need yet. At some point, Nate will have to commit all of their mana and just to be able to not die to these attackers.
Nate's down to 11. Does have Emery as a blocker. Well, got Guide of Souls hitting the board now, followed up by another Guide of Souls. Wow.
Okay.
Now, you said something about not overextending. Or,
You know, overextending into a deck that only has Pyroclasm as the sweeper just doesn't really matter too much. If you can jump one of these creatures and maybe have a removal spell for one of your own cats, then a Pyroclasm, sure, it would deal with 4 creatures or whatever, but there would be, you know, maybe 2 creatures left over and an Ajani that would flip, and then you're still doing perfectly fine. So you don't want to overextend during the early parts of the game, but once you kind of have a hammer lock on the game, you can kind of just go pedal to the metal.
Because, what would have to happen? A cat would have to die, a Johnny would flip, and then do his, I have a red permanent thing, so bam.
Exactly.
So, but that'd be for 4?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a world where Gabriel can win the game this turn by attacking and then killing his own cat.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the Ajani could deal 5, 6, maybe 7 damage on its own.
Yeah, because you want to, like you said, you want to make something fly. The Ranger Captain is the biggest creature on the board.
Yep. Still has to commit another creature to the battlefield to get into the air. So something that Gabriel could do if there is a removal spell for the cat is kill the cat, flip a Johnny, negative, deal 5 somewhere, get 2 energy with that, and then jump something with that 3 energy.
Because Galvanic Discharge would give you energy as well.
Exactly. Yeah, Galvanic Discharge would basically put you up to 5 energy, but I agree with this. There's no point in trying to get
fancy.
cute or anything.
But they're adorable, Corey.
Adorably mean. So looking at Nate's hand there, I did get a glance at Breach and Grinding Station. So the combo's there, but the Ranger itself is a problem.
Yeah.
And there could be anything else. So I think what Nate's going to try to set up here is block this Ajani, take 5, 6, 7 maybe, and then go to end step, spellbomb the Ranger Captain, and then just hope there's nothing else there. And I haven't gotten a good look at Gabriel's hand, so it would have to just be full of bricks for that plan to work.
So making sure there's no more theft happening and taking care of Ragavan. So Emery's down 2. Down to 5 goes Nate.
Yeah, not bad there. Takes away the red permanent just in case there is the ability to do any other tricky stuff. So if there is no other interaction from Gabriel, I think Nate can win this because this Spellbomb is going to try to bounce the Ranger Captain, I imagine.
Yeah. And Ocelot Pride now.
All right, big turn.
Da-dun. Da-dun. Da-dun, dun, 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 dun. That's a lot of kitties.
Yep. Looking if they are ascending here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does look to be ascending, so you would get 2 cats and get a bunch of life and energy.
Oh, yeah, because, that triggers the guide.
It does, yep. It's largely irrelevant, though, as there was enough attackers to win with Gabriel, and if Gabriel has a, a napkin in hand as far as interaction goes, Nate will not be able to win the game. Because right now, Nate can combo, but it's just a very fragile combo. Really can't beat any hate at this stage.
Didn't seem too happy with the top card there.
Does have the Swan Song, so if there is like land, artifact, Mox Opal, and then Grinding Station Breach, then, we're online. Then you can beat 1 hate card, and I think that would probably be enough, but we'll see what Nate has been holding. That's not a good sign.
Nope. Drawing another card. Dig in as deep as Nate can possibly go here.
Now, Pyroclasm would also just be great here, but looks like we do not have that. And going to game number 3, between these players likely playing a win-in for the top 8 of RC Portland here.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we've tied things up here. Let's take a look at the sideboards once again. What will we change this time, Corey?
You know, not a lot is going to change from Gabriel's side, as you just kind of have all the hate cards in your decks already as fast as possible. Now, from the other side, Nate might be interested in trying to just be a little bit more proactive. So if you trimmed on maybe, let's say, your Emery or your Tameo, which you definitely sometimes do when you bring in a bunch of cards, you might bring those back in and take out maybe cards like Flame of Anor or something like that and just try to be a little bit faster and a little bit more proactive, but wouldn't assume we see any changes from Boros.
Go fast, smack face.
Exactly.
Yep. It's a pretty good game plan, one I ascribe to personally. You like to fiddle with your toys and your trinkets and chuck things in the bin and take them out. If you guys want to, take out some cards and maybe buy some others, go and take a look at the flash sale this weekend. It ends on Monday, so if you are looking for some singles and you purchase over $50 worth, then you'll get free shipping. So go take advantage of that. Go pick up some new cards from Aether Drift. I hear Ketramos is quite the new hotness.
Yeah, that one does seem pretty good. A nice way to combo that one a bit.
Boo.
Yeah, I also think we might see it at the Pro Tour a little later, maybe in these, mono white carrot cake decks. You can exile a bunch of stuff there. That might be good. I'm sure there's a lot of other uses for that card as well. It'll be fun to dive into that set and its applications to a bunch of different formats after this event.
Yeah, that's our next bit of homework, isn't it?
It sure is. We'll be drifting.
Drifting and drafting. Players in good spirits still at this point in the tournament. They're having an excellent weekend thus far, sitting at 11-2 apiece.
Yep, but you there is definitely a lot of anxiety underneath those smiles right now. As one, they're looking at the clock, making sure they want to finish this match in time.
Oh, they'll have time.
And number two, of course, want to win this next game for their chance at a top 8. And speaking of a top 8, if you do make it there, it is a minimum $3,000 plus qualification to the Pro Tour. And, of course, you get to come back to the regional championship straight away, all the way up to $20,000 up top and $10,000 for the finalist. But that's not it. You also go to the World Championship at the end of the year, which just carries not only so much prestige, but also just a lot of equity. I mean, you last place in Worlds last year, I believe, was $4,000. So automatically tack $4,000 onto that. And just getting into play in the biggest Magic tournament of the year is what every Magic player, dreams about.
We don't know where the World Championship is yet, right?
Nope,
no.
not out there yet, no.
Not a clue. Hopefully it's somewhere cool, and, you can turn it into, like, a pretty sweet holiday as well.
Yeah, a little vacation,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Players are drawing their opening hands. Gabriel seems to be happy. What you got there, bud?
I see a Ragavan and a Thraben Charm there, so at least has a little bit of pressure, a little bit of interaction, so hard to mulligan that one. And no aggressive sweet start from Grinding Breach.
Ragavan hits the board first and foremost. Fetch lands for both players, so digging themselves equally, except we will be getting a shock for Gabriel.
Yeah, let's see if there is, any kind of removal or anything for Nate to be able to deal with this Ragavan, but looks like there is not, just a Hedge Maze. So would definitely think with both of these players keeping 7 that Hedge Maze into a turn 2 Rumble is kind of the bare minimum that would be in the Grinding Breach play.
Because there's nothing else that Nate has against a board that goes wide. Right?
Yeah,
it's an Unholy Heat. There's 3 of those, I guess. Pyroclasm and then the Flames.
Yeah, exactly. So, if Nate had, an Unholy Heat or something there, was definitely going to fire it off on Ragavan as being able to deal with that and untap and be able to cast something proactive is for sure what you would want to be doing.
And here we see the Rumble. Going to go and fetch another untapped source. Take more damage. Ouchie.
And you kind of feel absolutely invincible from the breach side if you are able to go end step, kill the one drop your opponent's plays, and then rumble. You just feel so far ahead. But with leaving Ragavan in play, and it does get to attack the respawn, very much still a scary card.
Yeah, and it's not exactly something you want to stick a spawn in front of, right? Because you have to be thinking about your own game plan, too. You can't just be reacting to everything that Gabriel's doing.
Okay, this is huge. So I believe we did see a Thraben Charm. Maybe it was an Ajani. We'll get some confirmation next turn. But there is a chance that without a Mox Opal or anything, Gabriel could just proactively exile the graveyard because there's both win cons. Okay, the Oracle did get picked up. That makes sense from Nate. Nate's just like, all right, if you were to just exile the graveyard here, the game would just be over in the sense of being able to combo. So smart move from Nate. Nate might also already have a breach.
Nate does not want that monkey hitting him, so spawn jumps in the way there.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly to make sure the third land isn't gotten there where you can cast Fable or something like that.
This monkey is causing quite a few gray hairs here for Nate, who has he's doing his best to deal with this. Oh, okay.
Somewhere Mason Clark is losing his mind with that hardcore or with that hard cast Thassa's Oracle here.
Oh boy. And it dies. Galvanic Discharge taking care of Thassa's Oracle, so now both win cons are in the bin.
Now they are. So this is very vulnerable. I do think I did see a charm there.
Yeah.
And Gabriel didn't try to play that Ajani or anything aggressive into the possibility of a turn 2 Pyroclasm to swipe the board. Now we will see if Nate has any mana left up, then maybe we don't go for this aggressive charm to exile the graveyard. But if Nate's tapped out, exiling the graveyard could easily just be the plan here.
Yeah. There's a Scalding Tarn. Just making sure our land drops are all correct.
Making sure life totals are correct with all this fetching and shocking here.
Yeah. Goes and gets the one basic island.
Yep, the only basic in the deck. Now, one thing we don't see from Gabriel's list is there are no Blood Moons or anything like that. That was a staple,
Wow.
but since since Mox Opal came around, Blood Moon's favor definitely is a lot less exciting. So I like cutting the Blood Moons here. I think that's a smart move. And if the charm is there, it seems like a pretty big slam dunk here to get rid of both win cons and take away the ability to combo.
Yeah, that would just be backbreaking here for Nate. So Gabriel has got a monkey. I believe we saw the Thraben Charm in hand. I think there's also an Ajani there, but that ain't the 2-drop we are looking for.
Yeah, whenever Gabriel has the ability to just tap out and know that Nate will not be able to win the game via combo on the other side, you just feel so much better. You get to tap out for Phlages, you get to slam Fables without having any mana open, and then when it comes to being a mid-range deck, Boros Energy is far and away a better mid-range deck than Breach without the combo.
Yeah.
Constructs and a Dream from Nate would be the plan if we do lose the graveyard.
Well, let's see. Did our eyes deceive us? First things first, Ragavan Nimba Pilfra getting in.
And
Will Nate let him hit?
And it is tough, you know. I mean, Emery does represent the ability to just draw 2 cards a turn with this bauble. But, you know, if there is, let's say, just like land Flage, then you feel bad that you didn't block the Ragavan with the Emery. So a tough call here for sure.
Emery's going to take one for the team there, take care of Ragavan. So monkey down. Are we going to see that charm?
You know, if that is going to be Gabriel's plan, you really want to do it now as something like a Spell Snare or a Swan Song to counter it. Would be brutal. But you can also get greedy and try to see if Nate will like play a Breach, and then you can charm the graveyard, and that is what Gabriel looks to be doing. Could have something else like an Orum's Chant as well, which will also just insulate him from that plan as well. But this, of course, comes with a little bit of a risk. Probably not too much, though.
So Nate gets to untap with all of the graveyard cards at his disposal.
And looks like just a pass of the turn, but now mana is left up. So if Gabriel does want to try to go end step charm or something, it's not, of course, for sure going to resolve.
Yep. Elegant parlor fetch there off the marsh flats, so surveil something else into the graveyard. Flage would be nice.
Yeah, it's always Flage. Whenever you can surveil a Flage into the yard, it just really feels like cheating.
Flage.
Yeah, rumor has it every time you surveil a...
That's not terrible.
Not bad at all, but rumor has it every time you surveil a Flage into the graveyard, Mason Clark gets his wings. Yeah.
Is Mason Clark an angel?
No, but he, I believe, did design the card.
Oh!
Yes.
Well, that's very cool. Wow, he's way cooler than us. Corey.
Way cooler. That was already known. That's already out there in the world.
Alrighty, what we got going? Arena of Glory, land number 4 here for Gabriel. A Johnny in hand.
Yeah, I think at first glance I saw Orum's Chant, Thraben Charm, a Johnny, maybe a Flage, and just decides to be very defensive here. This is a strange game.
I don't like this draw go nonsense. Flame of Anor now. I'm going to try and dig deeper here into Nate's deck. What can we find?
Good old divination at instant speed here.
Who doesn't love instant speed card draw?
Gotta love it. Yeah, and at some point, even without the combo, if Gabriel is playing this slow and reactive, you know, it does make the possibility of being able to win with Tamios, be able to win with constructs, and stuff like that. So, very strange game. And here is a couple creatures. So now you will see... we'll definitely see Gabriel trying to do something about these, because these 2 creatures alone will kind of take over.
Yeah, these blue legendary ladies, not a fan of them if you're sitting opposite the Grinding Breach player.
Yep.
Tamio and Emery. Name a more iconic pair, I dare you.
Now it feels like the opportunity or a situation in the game where Gabriel has to use his mana at some point, either at end step or during his turn, as you can't just keep not using your mana here at all.
Yeah, Orum's Chant. What is that other white card?
It looks like Wrath of the Skies as well. That could be huge.
Yeah.
But now, you know, Nate has left mana open, so if Swan Song is still available, that is still going to be huge, so...
Gets a free bird.
Yeah, gets a free bird, but something that Gabriel could do is like Thraben Charm at end step. If it gets countered, that kind of sucks, but then you could untap, find land 5, and then Wrath of the Skies for 3.
Yeah, there's the charm.
Yeah, it's going to feel a little brutal if that did get countered, but I think even Gabriel was expressing, I probably should have did that earlier, but...
Yeah. Got away with one there.
Yeah, maybe. Does look like there is a Breach in hand plus a Nature's Claim, so, you know, as we know now, but Gabriel does not know, is Nate is really all in on these creatures surviving and getting some value on the battlefield. So if Gabriel did have land 5, Wrath of the Skies for 3 and went for it, it would be devastating here to Nate.
Flage. Titan of Fire's Fury. That's his theme song, by the way.
Yep. And here is the spot where Flage gets to pick apart a creature, and without the problem of Nate being able to combo off on their turn, now Flage eventually will just run rampant here and take over this game, given enough time.
So 2 mana, left open, pass. Shows the top card there to Nate, who cracks Mishra's Bauble. Emery still sits on the board. Mox Opal isn't active at the moment, so we're going to go dig in, get the Bauble back with Dear Emery.
Yeah, and gets a little value here. This is kind of going to be the last turn that it looks like Emery is going to get some good action here, as just being able to escape Flage now, if it gets countered, probably do it again next turn.
Yeah.
and eventually Flage, like it always does at a situation like this, will take over the game, especially with this Arena of Glory in play. It's going to do some damage here for sure.
Whee!
Looks to be
Guess who's
exerted.
back? Yep. Arena of Glory exerted, so Flage gets to go swinging and dinging. In for 6. Takes care of Emery. In for 9.
Yep.
Owie.
Take 9 damage. Gabriel gets to gain 6 throughout this turn. No possibility that Nate can combo. And to me, looks like no possibility that he can come out of this. That they can come out of this game.
Yowza. This was a bit of a strange game.
This was a very strange game. This was the classic Boros control. And honestly, the texture of this game really changed for Nate when Nate flipped over both win cons.
Yeah.
That is really brutal. And there was something, that Nate could have done to prevent that, is just never cast Oracle. Just, even if you don't have any other play that turn, never risk being able to lose that and then the charm eating your graveyard, Like, of course, it's very tempting when there's a 2-1 attacker on the other side, and you can have a 1-3 blocker, but sometimes the risk is not worth the reward.
Yep. Flame of Anor. Dig, dig, dig. What can Nate find here to try and stem the bleeding? Don't know if there's anything that they could find right here.
Yep. Nope, not really.
And Orum's Charm just to, shut the door entirely.
Yeah, Orum's Chat.
That.
Orum's Chat, another card that's, really great at being played in response to a breach, but outside of that, not the biggest deal.
We're going to see it cost.
Looks like it is getting cast here in response to the Mox Amber to try to shut off Mox Opal. Looks to have worked successfully. 1 blue mana available. Not going to be enough, and it looks like Gabriel Nicholas is going to attack with this Flage and try to shake hands next turn.
Untap, draw. Turn things sideways. Win?
Looking like it. There isn't a Johnny as well as a follow-up, and Wrath of the Skies just to deal with these 0 drops. Look, this looks to be a Nature's Claim on a Mox to just go to 10 to not die to a Flage here.
Oh, Ragavan Dash, though, is going to wrap things up here for Gabriel Nicholas. So GG, Boros Energy in the hands of Gabriel.